Welcome friends, thanks for being here. Today I'm going to be making a fall themed collage with a motivational quote, and this is going to be our background, and I'll add some other images. I'm already eyeballing this cute image with the dog and the fall leaf. I don't know if it's in its mouth, but anyway, it's a really cute image, so that's probably going to go somewhere. And then I'm going to be using this inspirational quote, and it says, "Autumn is the perfect time for change." And I'll pick one of these color schemes. So that's going to go on here. I kind of picture it going across the notebook. These are from my autumn paper pack, by the way. Any of the images here on the left side are from my autumn paper pack. And these are just some of the images. I have 125 pages in that pack. Subject to change. I say always check the link and go to the website. But if I add or change anything, it's just because I found something that it needed or something that I wanted to make better. But I think it's done. And I will always have the updated link on the videos or under the videos, so just check that out. But anyway, these are different images from that paper pack. I have some more. There's like full page images. There's a lot of those as backgrounds. There are different quotes with different colored backgrounds, and I have larger fonts and smaller fonts. So like these are the same phrases in smaller writing, so that they will fit in different images. So we have that. We have some leaves. I have pumpkins. Let's see, where do those go? Somewhere back here. I have these in different sizes and different backgrounds. There's just a lot. I didn't want to print all 25 pages because I don't need them right now. But I thought we would start with this one and this quote. And when I'm done, it's going to be the first inspirational quote slash collage that's going to go in my quote binder. And I made the covers for this quote book in previous videos. So if you haven't seen those, maybe you want to check those out. I will put the links to those videos in the description of this video. But once it's done, it's going to go here in my quote book, the first page of my quote book. And we're going to fill this up. And the great thing about this binder is you can take pages out, you can add pages, you can change up the collages. But anyway, let's get started. It's fall. It's late September while I'm recording this video, mid to late September. And so I thought, perfect time to do a fall themed collage. So for starters, I think I'm going to pick which color scheme goes best with this image. This is, like I said, this is going to be my background image. This one is like a dark chocolate brown with off-white writing. This is black and white. I think both of them could go. I like both, but what I'll do is cut out, I think actually the black and white. I'll start with that, and if I'm still not sure, I'll go ahead and cut a version of the brown out. And I put these in different fonts so you could choose. I'm kind of feeling like it's a toss-up between these two. I think, I don't know, originally I was thinking this one, the big one, but I think I'm going to go for this one that looks like typeface, like old typewriters, because it's a notebook. So let's start with that and just see if that works. Now if you're new to making collages or you're thinking about making collages, one of my tips is to start with some sort of background, like a larger image. It doesn't have to be a full page size like this. It can be just like something you cut from a magazine. Like you could start with like something like this, and it can become your starting point, and you just kind of go from there. And the other thing I recommend is having more images than you would possibly need, and having some phrases, or like I said, you can do inspirational quotes and make an actual quote book if you want. But like I have some phrases in here just from magazines like October, Rustic. So, and you can download paper packs, which is what I offer from my website or another website. You can get images and phrases from magazines. You can draw if you're into drawing. You can paint. There's just different ways you can get the materials that you need. And the same goes for like junk journals, which is really popular right now. You can use images off of, I don't know, like a label from a product or something. Okay, I like this. I like that. I'm gonna see what the brown looks like. And I will cut this one out, and that will help me decide which font I want as well. But I started making these paper packs just because I'm so passionate about designing them. I just love it, and I love magazines, and I love making collages. So I just thought, why not make them for other people to use as well. Oh, I think they both look so good. I think maybe the brown. You know what I can do though, and this is something else I recommend if you're new to all of this, is think a few steps ahead. So I'm pretty sure I'm going to use one of these, not these fonts, so I'm going to set those aside, and I'm going to use one of these colors. But because I'm not sure, I'm going to start picking out other images or phrases that I can incorporate into this collage, and that will help me decide which of these phrases to pick, which color scheme and which font. So like I said, I think this dog will be neat. I think that he's gonna look really good, or she, right there. I don't think this is gonna need a lot because I love this image. So I don't think I'm gonna add a whole lot to this, but I could like cut out these leaves and glue them up here. And I think at some point I would like to add another phrase. So here are some smaller phrases, and I put them with different backgrounds. These are 3 of the backgrounds. I think I have 2 more different backgrounds with these same phrases. So just giving you choices is the idea. And then I have these leaves. That's in my paper pack. So I could do like this leaf right here. So it's going to be a lot of yellow accents. So maybe we'll try to match the dog. I definitely think I'm going to use the dog. And let's see. So let's do this. I think I might be leaning towards the black, but let's see that. Or that. Yeah, let's do the black. The black with the, I call it typewriter font. So here is something else you can do, is actually just cut these lines so that they're separate. And I'm also going to give it a nice rustic edge just by folding the paper and then tearing it. I like that look. It just gives it a little something extra. I think I'll do it on both sides. And the thing with collaging is imperfection is actually the goal. You're not going for perfect here. If you wanted perfect, you could just print out this page and be done. But this is meant to be creative, and you get to decide what you want to add to your page. Okay, so now I've cut this into strips. It obviously isn't going to fit on the notebook though. So I have to decide if I'm okay with that, or let's see. See, I have it in smaller font here, but then it's like too small. Oh, I have it in this size. Okay, I tried to just make it so there's a lot of variety. And again, that gives you choices. I can't cover everything, every size and every font and every phrase, obviously, or every image, but I tried to do enough to give you some choices when you're making your collages or vision boards. You can use these for vision boards. Okay, let's see. I'm just going to cut this down a little bit and just see if this works better. It's just about trial and error. You know, I kind of get an idea before I make the video, but I don't come up with some perfect idea. Let's go ahead and cut this down some more. I may accidentally cut this though. See, that was a terrible cut. But just to clarify, these are digital downloads, so if you mess up, like let's say I cut that word off a little bit and I didn't mean to, I can just reprint it. That's the beauty of it. I'm still not sure. I don't want to cut it down too much because I might want to tear the ends. Yeah, just like I did on the other ones. Let's see. I'm going to tear this. And I could still cut this down. I could do like autumn and then is my, and then favorite color. I don't know. Oh wait, that's autumn is my favorite color, not autumn is the perfect time for change. Oh my gosh. See, I messed up. Autumn is a perfect time for change. But this is enough for me to know that I think I want to go with a bigger one. I really like the look of this. So, all right, so there's our quote, and it's probably going to get glued down pretty much like that. Where did our dog go? I lost the dog. Oh my gosh, I had to go back and play the video because I couldn't figure out where this cutie went, and I just saw that it was under here somewhere. So, okay, I found the dog. Thank goodness. All right, so autumn is the perfect time for change. So let's talk about that while I figure out a few more images. So it's, I think, mid to late September right now. And what does that quote mean? Well, any time could be a good time to change depending on if there are things that a person needs to work on. It's kind of like a metaphor. You know, the leaves go through changes and then they come back in the spring, probably bigger and stronger. So every fall for me, I think about, you know, what is it I need to work on in my life, or things I need to change, but I also celebrate the time. I mentioned in my last video, the one where I go through the fall magazines, which may or may not get posted before this one. But fall, I love fall. It's my favorite time of year. Actually, I'll just do a clean cut on that. There's a lot of fun activities going on. There's Halloween, and my birthday's in the fall, and we have Thanksgiving, and of course all that leads to Christmas and New Year's and all that stuff. So it's a fun time, and there are like fall festivals to go to, and you get pumpkin pie and pumpkin spice lattes and all that stuff. Just going to the pumpkin patch and visiting places like that, you know, where farms have the corn mazes and stuff. So it's a fun time, I think, and it's cooling off. It's not so hot anymore, but it's also, you know, a time of reflection. So you can think about, well, is there something I can work on? Especially, you know, with the holidays, you might get around some relatives that you haven't seen in a while, and maybe there's some discord in the family, and you think, oh my gosh, I have to be around these relatives like coming up at Thanksgiving, and last year things didn't go so well. Well, maybe this year you decide to turn the other cheek, you know, just to have harmony in the family. Or it could be something that you're planning now for the spring or the summer. You know, maybe you want to start a business, but you can't start it today, but you can start making preparations today to launch it January 2nd of next year, you know, something like that. Because like starting a business, you usually have to do a lot of prep work. So you would want to start now to launch January, or instead of just waiting till January to have your vision board and your goals and a fresh start, why not today? So things like that. So it's a good time to change as the leaves are changing, but change for the better, of course. All right, I love this song, like I said. Trying to decide if I want to cut like an outline, but if I do, how do I want to do that? Like one side or the whole dog? Let me see what else I'm going to do. I mentioned these leaves. Let's get these out. But while I'm mentioning change and such, you know, is there a change that you've done recently that, you know, you're so glad you did it and it's changed your life for the better? Like sometimes a change is like moving. You move to a new city or new state or something like that. Or maybe it's ending a relationship that hasn't been working, or maybe it's taking on a new relationship, you know, and taking that risk. Maybe it's a new job. Oh, speaking of dogs, there's a man walking a corgi. They just walked past, and I love corgis. It's so cute. It was the lighter color corgi, and I used to have two dogs. They were half lab, half corgi, and so they were the best dogs in the world. So I have, you know, a bias, I guess you could call it, towards corgis. They're just so cute. But anyway, so I just had to mention that. That was a little bit of a distraction. But so what's a change that happened to you? Maybe it was a big change, maybe it's a little change. You know, maybe you took up yoga, you know, you thought about it for a long time and you finally took up yoga. Or is there a change that you made and you thought it was going to be good and it ended up just not being what you thought it was going to be? All right, this isn't entirely straight. I do have, let's see, I have my little cutter, but honestly I don't care that much if it's perfectly straight. I'm probably going to mess this up a little anyway, so I'll try to straighten it a little bit. Okay. I mentioned this in my other videos. This one was printed on my document printer. We actually like have 4 printers, but 2 of them are in the garage since we moved. So we have 2 up and running, and one is a photo printer that will print without the border, but it uses so much ink that a lot of times I just end up printing these on the document printer, but I cannot remove the white background. So the question is, do I want it to go like that or like that? I think maybe like that. So, but also I could have went ahead and printed this on the photo printer, but I have to change the ink. So even if I wanted to print it on that, it needs new ink, which I have, but I was just not in the mood to do that. Okay, so that, I like that. Let's pick out, I think this leaf is probably going to go somewhere, and then, I can't believe I cut out the wrong quote. Yes, I can actually believe it, because I do silly stuff like that all the time. Okay, now these leaves, I have these leaves and the other accents, I call them, on a white background as well, and some other backgrounds, but I also created the black background version because now you can kind of cut around it and that background can just blend a little bit better. You know, even if I decide to put it on the white notebook, the black background, it's going to kind of fade a little bit. Your focus will stay on the leaf. So that's why I did that. And also so that if you want to do like a kind of like a rectangular box around the leaf, you can do that. But there are different backgrounds. Okay, so I have that. Or the other option is I just cut closer and just cut off the stem. The leaves are a little hard because it is that question of the little stem, like what do I do with that? Yeah, I think I am gonna just do that. Let's just cut that little stem off because it's just too thin. There's no way to cut it out really. And then this is just gonna be smooth now. Hope this works. So if it doesn't, I'll just reprint the page or pick out a different one. Okay, so that's cute. I like that. But we need a quote to go with it. Sweater weather and crunchy leaves. We could do that. And we have leaves here, so I like that. And then in the background, that's it's not a sweater, it's a scarf, but it's close. Sweater, scarf, like wool. Okay, so this is like a kind of a soft white wood background. It might be a little hard to see on camera, but I gave it some texture. Let's give it that torn edge. Okay, yeah, I want to cut this down a little bit more. So yeah, I would love to know if there are some changes you're going to be making this fall. And it could just be something in preparation for the holidays, like I said, you know, or maybe you normally have family over, and this year for the holidays you're thinking, you know what, we're just going to go on a mini vacation or something like that. You know, we're always working on ourselves, right? And trying to make changes that bring more happiness, more joy. And I think you have to keep striving. And there's nothing wrong with just enjoying the moment though and being appreciative of what you have, but also, you know, sometimes taking the time and energy to make changes that improve our lives a little bit. And again, it can be something simple. You know, I mentioned in a previous video that my partner and I decided to start walking because we both felt like, okay, we're just getting out of shape, and you know, just sitting and watching TV or whatever is just not healthy. So it may not be a massive change, but it's going to help us in the long run. Okay, that looks cute, but maybe that may be the wrong leaf. You know, I may need a different leaf. Oh, there's another school bus. It's like the third school bus for today. And the bus is always kind of loud. I mean, maybe I need that leaf. Let's try it. And I'm not going to worry about the stem now. I'm kind of doing this off camera a little bit, but I don't want to mess up what I have so far. So the only thing about collaging is it is a little messy. I tend to make a mess. I'm not very patient about cutting these things out. I just can't. I cannot try to be perfect when it comes to intricate cutting. Okay, I did some cutting off camera because the school bus was being loud. They always make these loud noises when they start to pull away. But anyway, it's cute to see the kids get off the school bus. So the younger kids and their parents are waiting and stuff. It's really adorable. All right, so maybe this leaf. Okay, might be onto something here. I like that. Maybe we need a different color mixed in. All the leaves are yellow. Let's see. Well, this one has, I don't like that one with the green. I'll do that. Let me see what else I have there. I'll cut this leaf. It's like yellow and dark red, but there's also the option of just looking through my magazine images to see. Oh, I got this word harvest. That's cute. It's the wrong color for today, but decisions. Nothing is standing out there, so let me see what I have. So I took every full page image that I created, and I also created quarter page images. So like for example, let me show you. Well, there we go. Okay, so I have like this full page image of the fall leaves, and then it's also turned into a quarter page, and that way if you want to make smaller collages, you can also cut out parts of the images. Like I could cut out this leaf. So all of these are also in available in 8.5 by 11 size, or full page size. It's not 8.5 and 11. If you print it with a white border, it's going to be a little smaller. Oh, I have like this apple cider. That could be cool. Just cut that out. But it has the stem of the apple there, but I kind of like that. Let's see. Oh, there's this one. That could go somewhere, maybe. I don't know. Maybe this just doesn't need a lot. Maybe I just do that and then cut out the dog. Not everything has to be a lot of stuff, you know. It can be just something simple. Because I love that background so much. Let's just try that. And I'm going to cut along the dog here. And we'll just do that. And that just might be all we need for today. that brings me to a point too, is that you can steal small moments of joy for yourself, like activity. So some of my collaging videos are longer, but you can, if you like enjoy making junk journals or collaging or whatever, it doesn't have to be this big ordeal. It can be something simple, or maybe you just start one and you just take 10 minutes to yourself, you know, to start one, or just do a simple one or a small one. You could take one of these and just do a mini collage. Take 10 or 15 minutes. I do have these yellow flowers. That could be cool. Could cut one of those out and put it here. But again, I may not need that. I think the dog, though, we need to get rid of the green for the most part. So I hope I don't mess this dog up, because this is from a magazine and I can't go print another one. So I have to be a little more careful. Okay, I like that. That looks better, but now I feel like he needs a background maybe. Like part of that. I don't know though. Maybe he needs to go here, the bottom. There does need to be something here. Something's missing. Let's see. I'm gonna cut this one, this yellow out here, and just see if there's something I can do with that. Like if I tore the edges or something like that. You can see I only have a vague idea of when I start of what I want to do. Like maybe that, and then I rip the edges. I need more of those. Like you can round the corners with them. Actually, I'll just go get them and I'll show you. This is what I'm talking about. They make shapes and stuff. So this one takes sharp corners and rounds them, and then this one makes circles. But I was thinking if I had something that made a shape, but I don't. So maybe actually what I could do is just cut around these leaves. Let's try that. Whoops, okay, yeah, I lost where I was cutting. So for me, the changes I'm making, like I said, I started walking and actually lifting some light weights. I feel like I really needed to do that to start exercising again. I used to always exercise, and then I just got kind of complacent. And you know, it's harder. The older you get, the harder it is to work out. I cut back on sugar. I was getting in the habit of eating way too much sugar. I moved. I'm in the same town, but I moved. So that was a big change. Now, still needs to be cut down some more. And I like the place where I'm at better. So I didn't think I wanted to move, but we kind of like made that decision for various reasons, and now I'm happy we did. I like this place better. Okay, now I feel like we're getting somewhere finally. Let's see. But we'll call him Fido. Where can Fido go exactly? like that. I'm usually a little more decisive if you watch my other videos. Maybe he just needs to go somewhere else. You know what, this is clashing with that, so we need to cut this down. So I'm gonna fold this, that maybe, this actually I should use this cutter because I need it at a 90-degree angle. That was loud, sorry. So about right there. Okay. Let's fix these leaves a little bit. Okay, I like that. Except for I'm going to cut this off. I want to keep it away from the other yellow. So that's a tip I can give you too, is like, you know, this is too much yellow, so separate them. I want this dog in this picture. Maybe he just needs to go like right there. Maybe you can peek out the leaves. Okay, so oh no, don't tell me that my little doggy. Okay, I'm going to turn this off and figure out what I'm doing, because normally I can figure it out faster, so I'll be right back. Okay, I decided to just do it like this, where it's on the white corner, and we're just going to do it. This video is already getting too long. Okay, so let's glue this down. And then our dog Fido will go on top, because there's no way I was going to leave the dog out. It was not happening. Okay, whoops. Oh my gosh, it's not even straight. Not even straight. There we go. Okay, let's put our cute dog down. Probably getting glue on my desk. That's okay. Okay. Oh, adorable. Totally kind of wrecked this image though. It's like all creased now. Okay, and then we have our leaf. Just gonna put some down on the main paper. Okay, and I'm gonna switch glue sticks. Sweater weather and crunchy leaves. Doesn't that sound like fall? Break out the sweaters, walk through the crunchy leaves. I can never remember exactly how I had it before when I pick it up to glue. Like, where was that? What else do you like to do in the fall? I'd love to know your thoughts. Like, is there something fun that you do every year? Like, it's fall, I've got to do, like for me, I don't make it every year, but I do like to still go to a pumpkin patch and pick out a pumpkin. It's very childish, I know, but it's just fun. It's just something to do for the fall, and you know, enjoy the other fall activities that the farm has. You know, it's usually at a farm. I don't want to go to the grocery store and pick out a pumpkin. I want to go to an actual pumpkin patch at a farm. Okay, so now this is still bugging me. let's glue down our inspirational quote. And the idea of the quote book is it's fun and also obviously motivational if you're starting to feel down. You can also journal about these quotes. So you can write down this quote, autumn is the perfect time for change, and then journal about it. You know, maybe ask yourself some questions. What is it that I want to change and why? So it's not just about what the change is, but why. It's that saying, you know, find your why. So why do you want to change? Like for us starting to walk again and cutting back on sugar, we want to get healthy. And that's our why. Why do we want to be healthy? Well, so we can live longer and we can feel better. You know, who doesn't want to feel the best that they can feel? All right, I think that's all we're going to do on this. Okay, so a couple of days ago I made this collage, and then later that night I decided I wanted to trim down this image of the yellow leaves. It just wasn't quite right. And then I decided I wanted to fill this space. So I cut out this white pumpkin, and I found this little phrase out of a magazine. It says plant of the month pumpkin, and I'm going to trim that down and put this here, and then I think this collage will be done. I do this all the time. I think I'm done, and then I decide I want to add to it or change something. So I'm going to glue this white pumpkin down, right, and put it right there. And then this is sticking up a little, so yeah, it was just bugging me. It just didn't look quite right to me. So let's trim this down. I'm going to keep the plant of the month wording there because it's orange and it brings out the orange in other areas of the picture. It's like orangish red or reddish orange, something like that. Okay, we just need to trim this down. Maybe I'll kind of go around the words or the letters a little bit just to give it a little more interest. Okay, so, or maybe I'll divide this. I think this needs cut in half, and then we can glue it like that. Plant of the month pumpkin. Kind of is the plant of the month for probably October. I don't know why that keeps popping up. Okay, so I like that. Let's glue that down. Okay, and then this one goes here. So if you're collaging, then that's something to keep in mind. I say that a lot, that sometimes you just need to cut up the lines, cut between the words like I did here. So instead of one big chunk, I divided it into 3. Okay, now I am happy with this, except for this is still sticking up. And I also thought more about our quote here, autumn is the perfect time for change. The fall is when kids go back to school, when college students go back, and people move in the summer, and then they kind of get settled for the fall, for the school year. So there is a lot of change going on. And whatever change you have coming up, I hope it's for the better. I hope you'll come back. I hope you enjoyed this video. In the meantime, take care.